What's up, guys? Alex Davis here to talk to you more today about life, business, family, faith, all the above, all the pillars of life. Today, I want to talk about kind of how our entrepreneurial journey started. So, when I was in college, I graduated from Kennesaw State University in 2016, and essentially, I got done with college. I had kept the Hope Scholarship, got my degree, everything was good. I think I was the first person in my family maybe to graduate college, but I can't confirm that, but definitely in the past like 3 or 4 generations. And I got done and I started looking around and I knew that I wanted to do something in sales. And so essentially I applied for some jobs and I ended up going directly into insurance sales for probably 3.5 years. So I worked at State Farm, and then after I worked at State Farm, I ended up working at Farmers for a year. And then after I worked at Farmers for a year, I had the opportunity with the business partners I currently have to open up an agency with them and kind of leave the employee role and become a business owner. And so since that day, that was in 2020, probably March. I quit in April, and then ever since then, it's been the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. And so we started with one Farmers in 2020, we got a second one in 2022, and then we were able to open up an independent brokerage in 2023. In 2023, we also started flipping homes, and then after 2023 flipping the homes, we started a construction company in 2024, and I also got my real estate license in 2020. So we do real estate, insurance, and construction. And I'm kind of giving you this brief summary. I could talk a lot about partnership and how much that matters to me. I could talk about how you got to have people that have your back, and 2 is greater than 1, because these partners that I have each have strengths and weaknesses where we can, make up for one another and counter each other. Like one partner might be bad at this where I'm good at it, so I make up for that, and then I'm bad at this and he's good at it and enjoys it, so he does that. So I could talk a lot about teamwork, but what I want to talk about is taking action. And I think this is something that we just overcomplicate to the utmost degree, because we feel stuck in a spot. We feel like we're missing our purpose in life. We feel like stuff's missing. We don't know where we're going. We feel, just confused sometimes. And that is part of growing up. That is part of being human. That is part of being man or woman. That is just completely normal. But the reason I want to talk about taking the action and us overcomplicating it is because there's been so many actions that I've taken where it's really just the same repetitive ones. The simple ones are the ones that end up making everything happen. And you can call those your habits. Your habits are what ends up controlling your life and putting you in a direction to move somewhere. And so taking action. I talked about all that I did or that we did to start the businesses and get here and here. But the actions that we took every day were reflecting on the problems that we had and how to fix them. A lot of people don't like solving problems. In fact, a lot of people love throwing themselves a pity party when they have problems occur. And I'm stating it now, but guys, that used to be me. I used to be the guy that had a lot going on, that had all this stuff happening, and it was like, oh, woe is me, this is so hard. I got kids, I got a wife, I got family, I make all the money and pay all the bills. I got to do this, I got to do that. And all of that self-pity is just a pity party that no one else is even wanting to come to. It's a party that no one is invited to. Nobody's coming to hang out with you. And the faster that you can get over that self-pity, victim mindset, the sooner you can start becoming aware of other things. And so sometimes taking an action, we want to do something. We want to see things get done. Boom, 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 A to Z, A, B, C. But really, sometimes the action is just stopping everything you're doing, sitting back, and just thinking and taking a moment to analyze and to reflect and say, hey, is what I'm doing, I've been doing this for 3 months now. Is what I'm doing working? Should I try a different lead system? Should I try talking to my wife differently? Should I try a different disciplinary method with my children? You have to try different things to find out what really works for you. And sometimes taking that action is just reflect. Now, the next thing is, when it comes to taking action, sometimes, man, we put it all on ourselves when the action we really need to take is just pick up the phone and start calling people. It doesn't have to be new prospects and people to sell stuff to and all that. It could be 20 people in your immediate network, and taking that action to call them, have a conversation, think about them today, pray for them today, do whatever on the phone with them right then and there, or meet up. Maybe you call them and then you meet up with them a week later. What I'm trying to say is those are the actions that I would recommend taking, because other people, reading books, podcasts, YouTube, other people have the perspective that you're looking for. Because you can only have your perspective. You grew up where you grew up. You had your parents. You had your life. You had this adversity pop up. You went through this, and the only person that can go through that is you. And to understand different ways of thinking about that, different ways of going about that, other people have that answer for you. Other people, and then a lot of times if you can sit, and this is the deep spiritual stuff, but if you can just sit in silence, sometimes God already has the answers right here for you. Sometimes they're already inside you if you can just sit back and reflect on them. So I'm recommending reflect as an action. I'm recommending talking to other people as an action. I would say that those two actions done consistently over the course of the past 6 years, I have to attribute a lot to that. You know, I journal a lot, I reflect in those a lot, and taking your thoughts and organizing them and writing them down, I mean, it's mandatory for me to stay on track and even understand what's going on in my life, or else we got so much going on, so much family, friends, this, that, and the other, so many activities. You got the American calendar is scheduled we got like 50 holidays a year. You got Columbus Day, spring break, this break, that break. You can have your whole life just go by, going through the motions because you're just living, like having to keep up with everything. And if you can take a time to organize your thoughts and sit back and get organized with them and think about the actions you're taking, thinking about the people you're talking to. You know, a lot of times they say like your environment is the most important thing around you, and I completely agree, man. You hang out with people that gamble all the time and play Texas Hold'em every day, you're probably going to end up playing a game of Texas Hold'em. You hang out with people that, you know, drink water and work out every day, eventually you're going to be like, man, I want to maybe put down McDonald's today and try water and whatever else healthy around me. So your environment is important. Your environment is extremely important. So think about who you're talking to, think about who you're hanging out with, and then continue to take your actions, not based on your circumstances, but based on the goals you have ahead of you. The circumstances might suck right now. I have been in terrible circumstances, ones that I couldn't wait to break out of, ones that brought me to tears, ones that gave me, you know, sadness, anger, whatever you got. We're always going to have problems. But at the end of the day, if you can reflect and change those actions and move towards the goal with that stuff in mind, move towards the goal, not based on the circumstances you have now. Because when we look at our circumstances and say, man, these circumstances suck, we're just putting out there over and over to the world and to the universe and to the spiritual life that what I have isn't meeting my needs. What I have isn't enough for me. What I have just isn't what I want it to be. And that is our ego. That is us just saying like, I'm not happy with it. And it's good to want to change, but telling the world over and over that this sucks, it's not going to change it as fast as you want to. What's going to help is go into the gratitude, looking at what you're good for, like looking at what you're happy about with your life, taking advantage and taking care of that, thinking about that, and then reflecting and then talking to people and taking actions to move you in the right direction. I know we want to go it alone, but it takes people to move us. It took your boss or whoever to get you where you're at. It took your wife to choosing you to get you here. It took your husband taking the job so you could stay at home. You know, we need other people, and that's the point. So take action, but don't overcomplicate the action. Reflect, but don't reflect to the point where you feel like you're in a past of hurt and regret and everything. Reflect and say, what can I learn here? Thanks, guys.